the rest of the defense being able to focus on him, that he wouldn't perform, but he ended up having a real nice day. A lot of it had to do with Slay going out early on with an injury, so that helped. And I don't like when guys get injured, but I won't say it didn't help. With Aguilar getting loose, and the defense was able to contain Ertz with double coverage. But all in all, another positive is just the grit of Carson Wentz, because Jason Peters was out of the game for a little while. I don't think he came back in. First round pick Andre Dillard comes into the game and he gets injured. So there's another guy down right there. 2 tackles you lose. And, the run game was effective early on because you had our third string tackle, Big V, Halkulivade Vitae. He was playing second tight end. So where Dallas Goedert normally would have been, our third string tackle was there, and we were able to really break off some big runs due to that. So now you have 2 tackles go out, Vitae has to step in a left tackle, and now you lose an entire package that you game planned all week for. So it's just, bad luck mixed with execution. But going back to Wentz, I mean, this game should have been lost so many times between the fumbles and the drops and the miscues on defense. But Wentz will not die. I mean, he had a scramble for almost a touchdown at one point in this game. It was 3rd and 10, and the Eagles really needed it. He went right up the middle, and he just refuses to play it safe, even with the injuries he's had in the past, because he plays with the passion. He plays with the type of swagger that you want your quarterback to play with. That, I love this team.
He
I
plays
love
with a childlike, reckless abandonment that's very Favre-ish.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And the only thing I would say is he maybe has less chances than Favre. I think he's more mechanically sound in the pocket than Favre. But that was just kind of Favre's thing, and I'm glad he wasn't mechanically sound, because only he could have the ball below his knees the entire time and then just fling it into some tight window at the last second.
Hey, guys, Fantasy Files update on a player. Saquon Barkley exits the game with a high ankle injury.
I just saw him in a replay getting walked to the sideline, so I was wondering what was going to pan out with that. Well, I mean,
sorry to interrupt, fellas.
Right? No, it's a perfect transition.
That's a big one.
Back to,
He's being helped to the locker room for looking badly, and now he's on a cart is what he looks like.
All right, guys, we got about 10 minutes before we got to wrap this one up. So keep her going, Dylan. You're doing a good job.
All right, so I mean, like I was saying, really needed this win, because now we're going into a tough schedule, taking on Green Bay on a short week. I like what you were saying, with Green Bay being banged up themselves, but I think that you guys are just playing at a very high level. You see this offense really starting to kick it into second gear. I know everyone was really questioning after the Bears game how this was going to work out and yada yada yada, this and that. But you had to know that it was a slick field, and it was week 1 where the quarterback hadn't played all preseason, so that was just an ugly, terrible game to really get any sort of analysis from. Now, after the Vikings game and after today's game versus the Broncos, I think you're seeing what the real Packers can be, and I won't be surprised at all if they win this division. Kirk Cousins is still looking pretty bad at times, and I think he's going to hold the team back. And even with the Lions' big win today, you saw how the Eagles were able to stay in the game the entire time, basically, because the Lions...
They play the Chiefs and the Packers back-to-back coming up after we play y'all.
And that's horrible. That's a
the
terrible
Lions
schedule for this.
Still lioned. They just escaped with the win this time.
In all reality, Dallas Goedert dropped the game-winning touchdown, and then that would have been a blocked field goal.
I don't say this a lot because it's really rude, in my opinion, and kind of a lazy take a lot of times, but there are certain circumstances where this applies. This is a circumstance, and I'll go back and watch the whole game. But from what I was able to catch, right, this is more of a circumstance of Philly losing the game, the Lions not winning the game. You know what I mean? Like, there's not a lot of times where you can say that.
You could definitely tell Philly lost the game. Yeah.
Philly lost this game. The Lions didn't.
With 9 drops in one game, you dang right. That alone, Dallas Goedert dropped a game-winning touchdown.
Let's be real. The penalty that basically loses them the game because it takes their ability to for sure tie it. How many times does Malcolm Jenkins make the stupid play when he's already stumbling of putting his hands on another player and get an illegal block in the back?
It wasn't even that bad. That's the problem.
Well, I'm just saying, most of the time, Jenkins is smart enough where he sees that player and he puts his hands up and lets himself hit his face into the turf. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm just saying, it's even, like, it's things like that. Like, the Eagles lost this game, man. It was not the other way around. And I don't say that a lot. You're not going to hear me say that a lot. This is a prime example of that.
Oh, big time. And, I mean, like I said, now you fall to 1-2. Hopefully they can get it together and get, if not Deshaun Jackson, at least Alshon Jeffrey back and get those sure hands back in the game because we're going to need him. I mean, Green Bay is playing great defense. And obviously we're going to do some sort of, Eagles-Green Bay matchup on Tuesday night. So for you first and goalers out there, don't miss that. We'll dig deep into all the different matchups and what have you. But, yeah, it's a real bummer the way this worked out, man, because if we don't win on Green Bay, hopefully we can bounce back against the Jets because it's a tough road ahead from there.
Well, I still feel for you, buddy. I really do.
Well, I appreciate it. I mean, obviously, as a football fan, it stings. As a person, I will survive, as they say. But, a few positive things to take away, like you were saying with Wentz and his ability to keep this team in a game. I mean, so few weapons and such a horrible performance from everyone around him, but the guy still manages to keep the team with a shot to win this game. So, I just appreciate having this guy on the field.
Dylan, can I ask now? Because I don't watch a lot, and this will be the first year that I actually have access to like an ability to watch a lot of film. So this is like a kid I'm gonna look at, but I have watched him since he's been a rookie, like enough to get a kind of a judgment. I don't understand why do people act like this kid does not have the talent and the ability to become, not saying he is, but to become an elite NFL quarterback. There's still some people that, despite his injuries outside of that, they still don't want to give this kid credit. They've got 1,000,001 excuses, and it's not just a bunch of naysayers and fans. There's actual, respected pundits out there that talk this way. I don't get it because it's what he's doing. Today was an example. It reminded me a lot of Aaron Rodgers 2016. There's just nothing good happening around you, and despite that, you're in a game you have no business being in, given the personnel surrounding you. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like, at some point, you have to recognize that's a showing of talent to me that you can't get in normal game situations. Some players you never get to see whether they have that or not, and so you're never really sure. I think we've seen it enough with Carson Wentz that, injuries aside, he has something special the way we see in some of the greats, and I'm going to throw his name because it's who I'm familiar with. I see in him today those things that you see in Aaron Rodgers. It's crap around you, and somehow, some way, you're still in a game. Quarterbacks don't all have that, even the super talented ones. Jay Cutler, okay? I'm just going to say it. So, I just don't get the hatred here from the Carson Wentz angle from people. I'm not saying he's there yet, but, man, I've seen enough. And I've seen enough, like, in situations like this where if I can take the injuries out and he becomes a healthy quarterback and develop, and so he can develop in the offseason instead of rehabbing, boy, he's got those extra little things that are rare. Whew, it could be fun, man.
Well, hey, I don't know why.
Give a quick shout out
to butter me up. Yep, quick shout
out. Mike Evans, 1 half of football, 6 receptions, 131 yards, 3 touchdowns.
Quick shout out to your goddamn fantasy team.
Yep.
Yeah, Jay, I mean, you are just, I feel like you were playing the saxophone and you lit candles when you said that because it was beautiful. You're absolutely right.
Yeah, I'll hear that.
Carson Wentz has everything you could want in a quarterback. I mean, when you watch him in the
Sorry, guys, I forgot to mute it real quick.
Yeah, what the hell? Anyway, he always has two hands on the ball.
I was helping my son, you jerk.
He always has his legs in position to pivot and to move in a correct position. He climbs the pocket. He doesn't run around to the outside to where a defensive end can just easily get around the tackle and sack him. He climbs the pocket, makes great throws. He has athletic ability that you saw today. Again, he's been a magician as far as avoiding sacks. I mean, I know you guys might remember the Redskins game in particular where he just popped out from about 5 guys and ran for a first down. The guy makes throws on the run. The guy makes throws from the pocket. So, yeah, I love having him as a quarterback, and I do think he's underrated at this point. But now, here's why, and I understand why, too. You have the injuries, like you said, so people think that he's just fragile and he can't make it through the season. But also going with that, you have the fact that Nick Foles won a Super Bowl with this team. So I'm happy he did. I'm very glad he did, obviously. But that hurts Carson Wentz in the sense that it has people thinking that maybe it's the system and not the quarterback, and that if Nick Foles can succeed, then it's not just Carson Wentz has all this talent. It's that Carson Wentz is in, the correct system, which, I love Doug Peterson as an offensive mind.
Wait a second. Now there's a reality to this, Dylan. There's a reality. They completely, we saw Foles in enough stretches of this offense at the end of that Super Bowl run, at the end of the regular season, and then at the beginning of last season. He wasn't anything that special, guys. They essentially went at the end of that regular season, those 3 games, there's a reason why they looked different offensively in the playoffs. They scrapped their offensive playbook and put in a new offense that was the things that only Foles was comfortable with. And defenses, they happen to be things that put a lot of defenses in a quandary, where every answer they choose is still the wrong answer if the quarterback chooses the other answer in time, right? It essentially gives you no win as a defender if the quarterback is consistently making right decisions in those plays, which when Foles got hot, both those stretches, he was doing that. When he tried to run this offense the way Carson Wentz is and does, he was terrible, guys. And that is what this offense, you can only do that for so long. That's why it was short periods. It was perfect because it was a playoff run. It's essentially only 4 games. You know what I'm saying? And so it's a short period of time. Last year, they weren't doing. They weren't. He was not Stop acting like Nick Foles was so much better trying to run an offense that Wentz does. He wasn't, and that's why they changed it. And so it's kind of an asinine argument to rip on Wentz when it's not the reality and the truth of the actual football facts here. Sorry, Dylan, but
also too the defense helped carry. Yeah, also too the defense helped make a lot of plays throughout the playoffs and Foles stretch. I'm not knocking Foles, guys. I'm just saying that. There's a lot of defensive help there, and Foles is a game manager. He's not really a slinger. We know that, but I mean he still got the job done and worked with the team.
It's going to take 3 to 4 full seasons of being in this offense, and really having everybody around him and being comfortable where they have a core. Everybody acted like, oh, you're just going to insert Wentz and he's going to be able to repeat and everything's going to be fine. And that's not the case, because everything I just said. You are literally, now he's injured, so now you have a year of him coming back to even get comfortable. And so it's a year where he's not growing in the offensive system that they want to run as a whole. And it's not, by the way, guys, I'm trying to tell you, Doug Peterson's offense that he runs with Carson Wentz is not what won you guys a championship. I hate to tell you. Like, so if that's your argument, it's a